Welcome everybody in person and everybody who's zooming in from the outer webs. Thank you for coming. You could be anywhere on a Friday morning. We do this once a month here on the Monterey Peninsula, and this is just one chapter of 250 Creative Morning chapters worldwide, and we're lucky to be embraced by the Creative Mornings community. So thank you for being here. I got a lot of nerves today because this is a really big moment, because I'm actually part of this announcement. Normally I'm just the host, but today I'm bringing in some collaborators. Creative Mornings is giving birth to something new, something bigger than ourselves. We're going beyond our little community, and we're starting here, and we're going to go out nationwide. Consciousness is expanding. We're feeling the call, we're feeling the need, and I'm personally very excited to visit other Creative Mornings chapters and other groups and meet other creative friends like this. So first I want to acknowledge our global sponsor, Adobe. Let's hear it for Adobe. Creative Mornings is an all-volunteer run organization. Now let's give it up for our local sponsors. Let's first hear it for Wave Street Studios. We are nearing our third year. Thank you, Rhett, Judy, and Foster for being our hosts. Our next sponsor is House of 8 Media. That's my company. I'm your local documentarian, and I'm just blessed to live in this area and do what I love to do. I'm a freelance artist working in the video medium, and today I'm going to be announcing my next big project in partnership with our speakers, and I can't wait to tell you all about that because it's a big journey for me and my family.
Brandon has read this moment clearly, and it's exciting to hear that he's doing something about it. His own personal ember, the moment of honoring each person's sacred purpose and this country's sacred purpose. His ambitious book, which for those of you who are here in person have in front of you, Bison Medicine, The Cure for a Troubled Nation, traces the arc of our democracy from the Declaration of Independence through the Constitution and the many documents that followed. He speaks about both the vice and the medicine of this moment. He tells us plainly that we have failed to develop the moral fiber and spirit required to fulfill the original purpose of this country. And in some ways, we've failed to develop ourselves. We have failed to take our vows to one another and to honor the responsibility that those vows demand. But he does not leave us in despair. That while these policies have failed us, and may likely do so again, the march of democracy is eternal, immutable, and guaranteed. It is old as humanity itself. So as Brandon shares what that means for him, which is the launch of a beautiful announcement, the invitation is the listening, a personal commitment to hearing the impact of those times where we lost our way as Americans, and listening for that so that we can find ways to retell, rewrite, and remember the laws of these lands. And from my perspective, this work of peacemaking is deeply rooted in matriarchy. I see it as the preconditions, the tending of the womb, that ensures that the ember has the resources it needs to grow into a warming hearth fire. So the question is, what ember is growing inside of you? And what new fire will ignite in your life as we hear Brandon's words? Please join me in a warm welcome to Brandon Peele.
So thank you for being here. Thank you for having me. Thanks, Mike, and House of 8, and Wave Street, and Adobe, and everyone who helped make this possible, and all y'all, especially for the hard question I asked you today around the purpose of the United States. You could be lots of other places, and there's so few Americans, so few folks who live here that are ready to join, because you could have left. That's why I stopped you outside. I'm like, well, you could turn around and leave if you want. But what we're exploring today, and what you see on the screen here, is a project that was born out of despair and longing and, say, moral obscenity. So the spring of last year, it just hit me wow, we're going to turn 250 next year, and it is going to be terrible. There ain't nothing good about what's going to happen this summer. And I didn't know any of the things we know now. I just knew that it was going to be glossing over our history, our sins, our shadows. It wasn't going to elevate our highest ideals. It wasn't going to summon a new chapter. It was going to be hot dogs and a war parade. And now we obviously know there's a UFC fight at the White House. Hegseth probably do a keg stand. Who knows? There could be all sorts of weird stuff that's going to happen. So for me, that was unacceptable. I was like, I love this nation. I love these ideals. And we need to move into this moment, this 250th birthday, with much more honesty, much more humility and hope. So I rang up a bunch of my friends at Citizen University. That's their logo right here. I did a little fellowship with them. And it's a bunch of folks like myself all over the nation who care about shaping the moral, as Maya said, like the moral, spiritual, civic character that recognize that democracy doesn't exist unless it exists on all three levels: idea, political economy, and culture, spirituality. So this is not just advocate for any particular religion, but anyways, I reached out to them. I said, what are we going to do? We know the official tending of this moment is going to be at best tone deaf, and at worst it's going to work probably against our purpose, which is quite likely. And so for myself, I'm like, where am I going to be? Who am I going to be with? I need to be with my people. I need to be connected to what matters most. And so the result of these conversations is this pilgrimage. So the pilgrimage is a 4-week adventure into the soul and shadows of our nation. We'll be looking at a lot of the key moments and places that define who we are, and also the ways in which we've lost our way. If we learned anything about the purpose of the nation, it was probably like paragraph in social studies class, or U.S. history in high school if we were lucky, or if, any liberal arts majors here, you probably knew a little bit more about it. But it wasn't like all of us took our vows to the nation like our service members do, like our naturalized citizens do. None of us, like again, unless you're a veteran or former first responder, I wasn't asked to get married to 330 million people. I wasn't asked to commit to a vow of equity or life or liberty or happiness. I was basically said, pat it on the back, say, study, get a job, marry, move out to the burbs, make some more humans, die on a golf course. And some version of that's likely true for y'all. Like, whatever your parents' society, faith, culture shared, it wasn't like you have a supreme duty to serve your country. JFK famously said that, right? Like, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That wasn't part of my enculturation. I was not asked to do that. We're going to blow on this ember. We're going to see if we can actually get it to light some kindling. And feel free to rip pages out of that silly book in your hand and throw it on the fire. So, as I mentioned, the word's equality, right? This is the word that 750,000 of us died for. So although we were founded technically in the 1770s, we refounded the nation during the Civil War. We said that word, we have to take it seriously. As Lincoln said, like, we must be all one thing or another. A house divided speech, a house divided cannot stand. So we must be entirely a racial apartheid to confine an entire people to subservience, toil, early death, rape, murder, or we must abolish it outright. We must say, all of us are created equal. So that is what we fought and died and bled for. And as we should be intimately aware, that's not what's happening. We are moving actively, passionately, enthusiastically against our purpose in every sector of society. Education makes us dumb, healthcare makes us sick and poor, work makes us stressed out, insecure, education makes us dumb, conformist, technology's helping out with that. So we're literally doing it wrong. Everything about the United States, how it's showing up sector by sector, and that's what's in part 2 of the book in your hand, is working against equality, against life, against liberty, against happiness. And it's not building this culture of brotherly love. So e pluribus unum, that spirit layer, basically means from many one, right? But what does it actually take to make one out of many? When the Pilgrims first got here, they found a working democracy that worked on all 3 of these levels. It was culturally diverse, 6 different nations with different cosmologies, different, topographies, local economies, but they all united under a shared vision of who we are. The Thanksgiving address, if you haven't read it or heard it, it's one of the most beautiful things. They say it before they met every single time, is to acknowledge that this culture and spirit is the thing that binds us. That allows me to love my brother as much as myself, my sister as much as myself. It allows me to put, in this kind of stewardship or adult sense of the way, put all of your well-being into my heart so that I would never extract from you. I would never pay you a subsistence wage. I would never go to war and kill you. I would never randomly drop bombs on a school. I would never do that. That would desecrate my very being, right? That is what Mark's talking about. That's what our founders talk about. That's what they found here, to preserve and create the conditions for all of us to realize the fullness of life, liberty, and happiness, so we may all be created equal. So I'll hit one last point on this beautiful purpose we have. So the original phrasing of all created equal was what? All men, right? So obviously we've expanded that to women, we've expanded that to non-white folks, and to lesser degrees to folks who don't have heterosexual relationships or don't identify as a binary. But they used the adult form of male. They didn't say all souls are created equal. They didn't say all babies are created equal. Use the adult form. And so what we now know about what it takes to create a grown-ass adult, it doesn't happen at your 18th birthday. And by the way, thank you for all the high school friends from Alvarez here. Yes, you will have rights and responsibilities that get turned on at 18. But to become a developmental adult requires lots of inner work if you live in a culture like ours. So that's stuff that Mark does, Mike does, myself and Maya, I'm sure many of you too. So to create us all equally, we have to have an entire village around us to help us realize our fullness, as Mark was talking about. We have to carefully tend to that village, as Maya was talking about, that kind of matriarchal, solar punk, like everyone thrives or none of us thrive kind of feeling. And that's what's at the heart of that spirit leader, that e pluribus unum. So we're at this crossroads, just like we were in the 1860s. Right? We must be all one thing or all another. We must be all village, or we must be all extractionary subsistence wage economy, or foreign policy is just extracting and bombing everything. We must be all that, or we must be all peace and prosperity. So that's where we're at right now. And it's not like, oh, this would be a fun little project. I should bring this to Creative Mornings. I have this idea, it'd be fun. If we don't do this, we're toast. Like AI, climate change, polarization. We got 400 million guns. Over 30 million of them are assault rifles designed to kill as many humans as fast as possible. If we don't find this e pluribus unum, this inescapable web of mutuality, as Martin Luther King talked about, we are hosed. It is going to be bad. Like, it'll make the Civil War look like a skirmish. So the spirit level reckoning that Mike and Maya and I are helping shape into the national pilgrimage. So back when I told you about this moment, like, what are we gonna do for this 250th? Like, we gotta meet it. It's asking something of us. It's like, we're not gonna, somebody hands me a hot dog and tells me to go watch a firework, I'm gonna be like, what year do you think it is? like no. So this is the spirit of a pilgrimage. Granted, we are gonna be in cars for a lot of it, but the spirit of the pilgrimage is to humbly surrender, to do hard things, so that we can stay in these deeper questions of our own lives around who am I in this moment? What new capacities, growth am I gonna have to bring forward to meet this chaos? But also, who are we in this moment? Are we content with just our declaration and the preamble, the Constitution, and speeches of Lincoln and King? Or as Mark said, like, we've evolved. Like, we know stuff now about what an adult is, what it takes to raise one, the villages that we need, the schools that we need, the healthcare. We know stuff. Science approves this stuff, and we're not doing any of it. We're like the anti-science oligarchy, basically, with a few voting rituals thrown in. So we're going on the road, and we're beginning in Haudenosaunee territory, the birthplace. And that is to allow us to marinate on the original instructions for humans, the original wisdom of this land that was summoned and evoked and debated over thousands, if not tens of thousands of nightly council fires. So these ideas of liberty, life, and equality did not come from a bunch of guys in powdered wigs in Parisian salons. This wasn't like Locke and Rousseau. They got this stuff from here and repackaged it and sold it back to the colonies. So our democracy began here. It's the true heritage and, I want to say, duty of this land. Like, this land birthed our democracy. So we have to blow on that ember and keep it going, keep these council fires, which is why we're sitting in a semicircle here, as an acknowledgement of this is what it takes. All of us sitting around having these hard questions, having these hard conversations. So from Haudenosaunee territory in rural New York, we moved through Philly, Liberty Bell, Constitution Center, Harper's Ferry for the revolt that kicked off the last time we renewed the covenant, the Civil War, through our civil rights history, where we continue to this day, and especially during the 1960s and 70s, to fight to ensure that all are created equal. So no poll taxes, no segregation at schools and countertops. From here, we move out onto the west, and this is where we will move in a very ceremonial and reverent way, connecting with the original caretakers during the solstice for the Seven Nations Council Fire. It will be an all-nations prayer gathering on the solstice to pray for what needs to come through. And we will be guided and led by the wisdom of the land and the wisdom keepers. From there, we'll move on to Montana, to Greasy Grass for the 150th anniversary of Little Bighorn, Battle of Little Bighorn. So that's Custer's last stand, a massive moment, massive anniversary, commemoration, ceremony for Native peoples, and for all of us, because our values and our sins were on full display there too, before and after. And we'll move into Yellowstone to go say hi to our bison, our national mammal. These herds have now converged and begun to remember their ancient migratory pathways. So that's what's also in your hand there, is a marination on the bison and how they can guide us. And then into the Dakotas for a ceremony at the All Nations Gathering Center in Pine Ridge, and vigils in Minneapolis for Philando Castile, George Floyd, Alex Preddy, and Renee Good. And then we will land our ship in the center. Not in New York or DC or LA or San Francisco, but in the heartland, in Chicago. City of broad shoulders, the place where the transcontinental rail converges, our waterways, and really where I feel the United States needs to be, where our attention should be. It should be here, not in DC, not wherever the local things are happening in your cities and towns. We should be watching what's happening in Chicago. This is a city that is remarkably diverse and has realized remarkable solidarity in the wake of last summer's, let's call it what it is, ethnic cleansing effort. And it'll be just weeks after the Obama Presidential Center has opened. So this is where I want us all to put our fingers together and go, like blow on that ember. Blow on it, because this is where the fire is going to catch. And so up until this point, this is a poetic road trip, right? With Mike and his family coming along to capture it, to create a documentary. But after the 4th of July, that's when we dream the new moral vision. So we're having the National Assembly, where all of us are invited to participate through our partner. It's not on the screen, but the next one. We're going to be answering this question. What do we want to do next? The first 250 were mixed at best. But what is the moral vision for the next 250, for the next 10? So we're going to be answering this question and asking this question on the road, and then when we get to Chicago, we'll be meeting folks, asking them, what kind of country do you want to leave for your children? What values should guide us? How do we want this place left for the next generation? So we're partnering with Synonym. We're going to help us take an infinite number of people. Could be on this on the evening of July 6th and July 7th, but it'll likely be more in the thousands. And they'll be placed in groups of 6. It's all virtual, by the way. And we'll be asking these hard questions of each other and learning from each other. And over the course of these 2 evenings, 6 people will emerge to be our storytellers. We will be building this work product, this moral vision for the nation. I have a sense of what that is. I know Maya and Mike have got a sense. Y'all have a sense. But we won't know, because honestly, this story shouldn't be told by political scientists or coastal elites or politicians. It should be told by us. Like, who do we really want to be here? Like, how can we be more together than apart, scrambling around for love and security and like trying to like keep patching the holes in our ship? Like, how can we actually do this together? So that's what we want to stand inside after our 250th birthday. This vision, not what anyone else tells it is, but what we say it is, all of us. So as Mike mentioned, and he'll share more about this soon, we're making a documentary. This is where we are moving across the incredible beauty of our nation, as well as the pain of the lived experience of being here, and taking these stories, this emotionally transformative experience of the center of the country. You notice we're not hanging out on the coast. I know we're in Monterey right now, but we're not going to the spa. Like, may I have some gas station sushi? But this is not going to be luxurious, coastal, Insta-worthy. Like, it's not going to be any of that. It's going to be moving with reverence through these sacred places and times, being taught by the land, being taught by the people. And so combined with what we're doing with Synonym, we're actually kind of creating a national moral database. So the technology is actually going to start to quantify what's most important to us now. Now, it may still be equality, life, liberty, and happiness. We might find other words that get used more, like solidarity, or village, or flourishing, or human potential. Because it's 2026, it's not 1776. We might find new words that actually meet this moment. And of course, the physical pilgrimage will teach us as well. We're gonna get bitten by bugs. We're gonna be sweaty, dirty. We're gonna probably eat more bread and fried stuff than we otherwise would. Might not sleep well. But all of this converges on this moment, right? We're not talking about setting up cameras at the World Series. We're talking about actually creating the conditions for this. So this is not passive. We are marking this day with something special. We're going to be blowing a lot of oxygen onto this fire of democracy. And it's likely going to go sideways if the last 3 weeks have been any indication, everything about this is going to go sideways at some point. But we do commit and promise to y'all that we're going to deliver this. Film, bringing you with us. So you're all welcome to physically come. I do encourage you just to blow off your summer and come with us and cancel all your plans. The United States turns 250 once. We get to renew the covenant once. Come with us. But we are going to be sharing out a lot from the road. So Mike will be posting dailies. I will be asking everybody these same questions. And like I said, this moral inventory of the nation. And a vision that will be read live in Chicago. So one piece I haven't yet mentioned, July 6th and 7th are virtual. Final 6 fly on the 8th, workshop the final product on the 9th, and read it aloud for the nation. So this is we are stepping into the future together. Now we got a great team. I want to invite you to get out your pocketbooks. You don't have to do it because I don't think anyone has them anymore. They just have a phone or a watch now, right? But we're raising money because cars cost money, RVs, camera crews, taking Mike and his family on the road, the convention or the assembly. So we're raising $100,000, and we literally just kind of soft launched the site last night to make sure it worked and got some early funders in there. And we want you to think about joining us. Obviously, go to the site, sign up for the updates, but blow off your summer, come with us. This is only gonna happen once. And sign up for the National Assembly. Have your voice heard, because it's gonna take all of our voices here in this room for it to feel good and cohesive and true. But when was the last time anyone really asked you what you want for yourself in this nation? This will be your time to be asked that and to learn from your fellow citizens all over the country. And of course, you will be part of history. If you do one or all of these, you will be part of history. So nationalpilgrimage.us, pull that up here in a second. There you can find out about the crowdfunding campaign as well. And our kind of deep wish is that, this is kind of like an ambitious project with lots of different work streams and things like that. This all comes down to love. I just want to walk in love and beauty. I'm freaking tired of everything else that isn't that. And unfortunately, that's most of it. So this is what we get. We get the village. We get besties. We get aunties. We get connection with the land, each other. Science has shown us that we only need 30% of the current labor, resource, and energy usage for all 8.5 billion of us on this planet to thrive, not just survive. So look at your calendar, delete 70% of that, and you're thriving, not paycheck to paycheck like 3/4 of us. So we know that's possible. And I heard some of y'all talking about this. I think it was you, Tristan, you were talking about, we don't have to extract. None of us want to extract from each other. We need this shift in mindset, the shift in heart set towards love, towards loving each other as much as ourselves. So I want to thank you very much for patience and listening and participation. And please come with us. Tell your friends, especially the rich ones, tell them to give us some money. And definitely blow off your summer, come with us. So thank you.
Okay, it is time. It's time to show the film for the first time. This is a 5-minute piece. This is our calling card, our giant commercial, our big ask and call to the universe. I'm gonna click play over here, and hopefully the sound will work. And at the end, we'd love some testimonials. What's on your mind? Give us some words of encouragement that we can use and put on quotes on our capital campaign for social proof. So let's see how it goes.
In the 250th year of the American experiment, something feels deeply wrong. We were founded on a promise. All of us, created equally, have the right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But out of all the Western industrialized countries in the world, we have fallen to the bottom of the list in the areas that matter most to us. Equality, health, freedom, and happiness. 78% of us are living paycheck to paycheck. In the last 50 years, 79 trillion has been transferred from the bottom 90% to the top 1%, meaning most Americans' incomes should be double what they are today. Nobody feels the weight of this every day more than the mothers of this country. The mothers of America are the fabric that hold our society together. And that fabric is burdened and stretched too thin. Every major democracy has rewritten their constitution. France has done this 15 times. It's clear that our contract is broken. As our nation turns 250, we need more than fireworks and a military parade. Our country actually needs something from us. We need to renew the covenant of democracy. Previous generations answered the call. Now it's our turn. Across this country, something powerful is beginning to gather. A group of pilgrims will do something extraordinary. From June 9th to July 9th, 2026, we will travel across the United States on a 4-week national pilgrimage, beginning in the birthplace of democracy in Haudenosaunee territory near Rochester, New York, and ending in the heart of the nation in Chicago, city of broad shoulders. Not as a protest, not as a campaign, but as a pilgrimage, a sacred journey through the soul and the shadows of America. To listen, to witness, to heal, and to give birth to a new vision for our time. Along the road, the pilgrims will sit with everyday Americans, mothers, fathers, farmers, teachers, veterans, young people, elders who remember another time. We will be asking big questions such as, what are our most cherished values? How should they guide us? What would need to be true for our country to be a great place to raise children? What kind of country do we want to leave our children? We are gathering a nation. Chicago, July 9th. People from across this country in person and from home will come together for the National Assembly, not to debate policy, but to dream a new moral vision for this nation and the generations to come. Thousands of voices, rounds of conversations, and from those voices, 6 storytellers will emerge to carry that vision forward. The National Assembly is not the destination. It is the threshold. What we gather this summer, every voice, every story, every mile of this road will become a new moral vision at the National Assembly. A great gathering of mothers, fathers, of every American who believes this country can still become what it has promised to be. We are looking for pilgrims to make this journey. People from every walk of life, every corner of this country. People who believe America is worth this conversation. If you can travel with us, we want you. If you can't, join us in Chicago or wherever you are. The National Assembly belongs to all of us. Contribute today, and we will show you how to take part. Your contribution puts the pilgrims on the road. It funds the film crew capturing the beauty of our nation and the pain of living in it. It funds a 4-week convoy across America and the National Assembly, where the real work begins. Every conversation, every mile, every voice in this journey will help build our moral vision. Support the National Pilgrimage. Join us for the National Assembly, and let's love this country back together.
Thank you, everybody, for coming to Creative Mornings. That's the end of our program. We'll see you next month.